whatever point is trying to be made here. At this part of the documentary, they are heavily laying the fear-mongering aspects of fast food's impact on the body, and by saying that it's wiping out his liver, showing a call his mom was worried he's going to harm himself, which makes sense because he's literally harming himself by eating this much terrible food.
I'm just afraid there'll be something totally irreversible, you know, that there'll be some damage done.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, do they think that once you change your habits, that's going to correct itself?
Yeah, they think that everything should get back on track once this is done. You know, your liver, I've been doing some reading, your liver is very resilient and your liver heals itself.
See who has the last round.
So,
If you need a portion of my liver, honey, you can have it. I'll give that part of my liver for you.
thanks.
And now that they're driving home the fact that this can have a permanent impact on your health, they start making the comparison of fast food to drugs like heroin and how these eating habits are a result of an actual addiction rather than having human rational agency, and you're not making conscious choices. It is a disease itself. Food itself is a disease, not just obesity the result. They kind of try to tie that point in logically by saying that a drug that's given to people who are addicted to heroin or, you know, gone through heroin withdrawal or overdoses, when you give that same drug to people with chocolate addictions, it helps. It's a similar effect because it's like the same parts of your brain, opioid centers and stuff.
A drug that is used in emergency rooms called naloxone. It's used for heroin overdose. And a guy comes in, overdose on heroin, comatose, he's gonna die. You inject him with this drug and it blocks the opiate receptors in the brain. Heroin doesn't work, he wakes up. If I give that same drug to a real chocolate addict, a person just shoveling it in, you find the most amazing thing. They lose much of their interest in chocolate. They take a bite, they set it back down. In other words, it's not taste and mouthfeel. It's a drug effect of the food within the brain that keeps us coming back again and again.
Me in my opium den, I'd be like, enjoying my life, man. Back off. I'm just a 19th century Chinese fella. Smoking my opium. To highlight the extremes of these kind of food addictions, they show a couple who drink insane amounts of soda. They buy 52-liter bottles every 2 weeks, and the husband went blind for me, dude.
Oh, I know 3 or 4 of those guys.
3 or 4, this is a half gallon. So that means you were drinking probably about 2 gallons of soda a day.
It wasn't unusual for 2 weeks. Of someone.
52 liters every 2 weeks.
And that probably depends on picking up a couple like he drinks more than I do.
Yeah.
I'll go through about one of those a day.
Sometimes I go through 3 or 4 2 liters.
He drinks 3 to 4 2-liter bottles of soda a day, and she drinks 1. Obviously, very extreme example.
Just went completely one day out of the blue, you went blind.
I went to work, got to work, drove to work that night, got to work there, couldn't read the charts, and I had to call my supervisor, tell her I couldn't work because I couldn't see what I was doing, and I had to call my wife, had her get a ride to work to pick me up and take me home. And then once I stopped drinking the diet soda waters and stuff, got my sugars back down, I was fortunate enough my eyesight came back. I didn't do that much damage to them at that time.
Further driving home the point that fast food is something you can actually become addicted to. You know, soda is 100% something you can become addicted to. They bring up the point again that his mood improves when he starts eating McDonald's, that is, you know, when he gets a little taste of it. He kind of perks back up, sort of like I perk back up when I hit my opium pipe, because I'm a 19th century Chinese man.
But it's interesting you're saying that your mood goes up once you start eating.
Yeah, lately, every time I eat, I feel 100% better.
Huh, so it seems like you're starting to get addicted to it now.
They then use a song and some imagery of McDonald's to basically say that McDonald's is a drug dealer, which is pretty cool. I like that part, honestly. It's pretty baller. I can't believe they didn't get massively mega big time bunker sued by McDonald's. TBH. You think they would. You think they'd just sue everybody for being critical of them. I would if I was Ronald. If I was Ronald, I would. They then call nutritionists to see how often you should consume McDonald's or just in general fast food, and one says that unless you've been bombed with anthrax, never. Haha.
In 2002, McDonald's France took out a full-page ad in a French magazine in which a nutritionist stated, "There is no reason to go to McDonald's more than once a week." McDonald's corporate headquarters in the U.S. freaked out, saying that this is only one opinion, and that the vast majority of nutrition professionals say that McDonald's food can be a part of a healthy diet. So, we thought we'd randomly call some nutritionists to see what their opinions were when it came to eating fast food.
How often do you think that people should eat fast food?
Ideally, never.
Rare to never.
The less the better. Zero is the best. Hopefully no more often than once a month. If you are stranded on a deserted island for a weekend, bombed with anthrax, and that's the only food available, that's the only time you should eat fast food.
So you just should never eat fast food. I don't know about that, right? Like, what's the point of living if you can't eat a little dirt, a little sugar, a little shit? You know? I like it. I drink a Dr. Pepper. I eat relatively healthily. I read books. I take care of my health, my brain, my body, my cock, and my opium den. You know? I think there's a little beauty in shit. Hey, I feel like just being a Nazi when it comes to that kind of shit is just not fun. It makes no sense. It's illogical. It's illogical. Life is too short to not taste McDonald's. I guess unless you think it's just disgusting. But if you enjoy it, why not? Who cares, bro? Day 21, 3 weeks into the massive Mega Morgan Spurlock experiment. He wakes up at 2 a.m. saying he couldn't breathe and has to walk around to catch his breath, even feeling like he's having heart palpitations.
It's like 2 in the morning on February 21st. I woke up, couldn't breathe, was having really difficulty breathing. I'm very hot and felt like I was having heart palpitations.
This will be you if you eat McDonald's. You've been warned! He then goes to the doctor who says his EKG was fine, but recommends taking an aspirin daily, just because it's obviously for the documentary. It makes sense. Like 21 days of this is not going to cause you to have a heart attack, is it? It can't. Is it? Can it? I feel like it wouldn't, but I don't know.
Would you at least consider taking aspirin once a day now that you're on this ridiculous diet?
Maybe. I'll think about it.
Why would you even think about it? Why wouldn't you just do it? This is really, you saw these numbers, right? These numbers are absolutely outrageous.
Maybe we'll find something else out in a little bit that will shed light on this question. This film also highlights that lobbyists for the food industry are in Washington just doing what piece of shit lobbyists do, and that's making sure that no legislation passes that's bad for the industry.
Nobody needs to be partisan about this issue. We need fixes, we need remedies, we need support.
How much influence on government legislators does the food industry have?
Well, the food industry is an enormous business in the United States. Therefore, it employs very expensive and well-paid lobbyists. And those lobbyists are in Washington for two purposes. Number one, to make sure that no government agency ever says, eat less of the company's products. Number two, that the government never passes legislation that is unfavorable. And I guess the third one is to encourage the government to pass favorable.
Don't pass legislation to regulate or restrict or anything. Pass legislation to ease it in favor of it. Free McDonald's, 1 day a week for everyone. Instead of a universal basic income, we get free McDonald's 1 day a week. Yay! Yay! In the documentary, they essentially imply that the food industry is inseparable from the government at this point, which is kind of true because it's like one of the forefronts of like capitalism, I guess, is food service. It's kind of important. People need to eat, so it makes sense. But they're saying it like a separation of church and state kind of way, which in my opinion is weird. It's kind of weird. They highlight this food government combination with a bit of a McDonald's character White House epic YouTube poop edit. It's pretty sweet. There's a Pledge of Allegiance behind them. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn early light what so proud? Hail. This is gonna be Then day 27 rolls around and Morgan says that by the end of the month he'll have eaten the amount of McDonald's that the food nutritionists recommend eating over a period of 8 years. That's 3 times a day over 30 days. That's 90 McDonald's meals. That's how many you should have over 8 years. It sucks.
At the end of this month, I'll have eaten as much McDonald's as most nutritionists say you're supposed to eat in 8 years.
Not even once a week? It's not, what the f? That's like once a month. Yeah. That's once a month, bro. Cringe. It kind of makes sense. This sort of reminds me of that time we all found out that drinking 1 prime hydration is like drinking 1,000 a lifetime's worth of PFAS, forever chemicals. Remember when we found that out on TikTok? I'm being facetious. Don't sue me, Logan Paul. I'm on your side for that one. Just for that one, though. Everything else, go fuck yourself. To celebrate day 30, Morgan's girlfriend writes up a detox diet for him. He throws a bit of a party at McDonald's to celebrate the accomplishment, I guess.
Now, after you read what he eats every day and the nutritional information, because I go through it all, I'm like,
We're sharing a portion. Yeah, we're splitting.
For his final weigh-in, he comes in looking like a specimen. He's up to 210 pounds, which is 25 pounds over his starting weight. In a month, he gained 25 pounds. That's wild.
Oh boy.
210
I'm gonna
pounds.
say 210, right on the money. We went from 185.5 to 194. A week later to 203, then down to 202, and now 8 pounds during the last week for 210.
Wrapping up the film, he brings up that lawsuit that was filed on behalf of the 2 girls that was against McDonald's, on behalf of those 2 girls that was against McDonald's, on behalf of those 2 girls that was against McDonald's, on behalf of those 2 girls, and the fact that it was thrown out because they couldn't prove that McDonald's caused their injuries, which is, that makes sense. I mean, in all honesty, it seems kind of ridiculous, but oh well.
After 6 months of deliberation, Judge Robert Sweet dismissed the lawsuit against McDonald's. The big reason, the 2 girls failed to show that eating McDonald's food was what caused their injuries. Interesting.
Morgan contradicts this fact by showcasing the difference between his health before the challenge and his health after the challenge. And I guess that's a sort of contradictory point to make, I suppose makes sense.
In only 30 days of eating nothing but McDonald's, I gained 24.5 pounds. My liver turned to fat, and my cholesterol shot up 65 points. My body fat percentage went from 11 to 18%, still below the national average of 22% for men and 30% for women. I nearly doubled my risk of coronary heart disease, making myself twice as likely to have heart failure. I felt depressed and exhausted most of the time, my mood swung on a dime, and my sex life was non-existent.
I particularly enjoy the point in which he highlighted that it killed his sex drive, and he called his penis worthless, which is really funny. You are worthless, you little bastard. You are a worthless little bastard down there. You so worthless and small and hairy. Why is the shaft hairy? Is that normal? Is that normal? I'm just a 19th century Chinese opium den dweller. Relax. Now, of course, guys, this documentary would be incomplete without a call to action. He calls for McDonald's to dupe away with the supersized meals.
Why not do away with your supersize options? Who needs 42 ounces of Coke, a half pound of fries? And why not give me a choice besides French fries or French fries? That would be a great start.
And he calls upon consumers to be more aware of what they're consuming and more conscious about what they eat.
If this ever-growing paradigm is going to shift, it's up to you. But if you decide to keep eating this way, go ahead. Over time, you may find yourself getting as sick as I did, and you may wind up here. Or here.
And further on, in a terribly called shot, absolute horrible. This dude is like the opposite of Nostradamus. He says that 2012 will be the year of McDonald's death. That's funny.
I guess the big question is, who do you want to see go first? You or them?
This is personal!
That's funny. It's been 20 years, and McDonald's is still around, still f***ing people over. But oh well. It's just because they just keep opening up shitty stores, and they don't care about how they're built anymore. They all look insane, and stupid, lame, like death. They taste like death, and they deliver death, and they also look like death, dude. At least have some fun. At least make it look cool if you're trying to kill me and be honest about it. I'll eat it if you do that. You. That's also another point that has aged quite poorly. So how did this film impact society? Society, it's honestly huge. It's gigantic. It was massively popular. You can see all the stats of it. It did very, very, very well. It was a breakout success for Mr. Spurlock. But how did it trickle down into an actual effect? How did it actionably affect society? Did it do anything good? Did it actually help us at all? Probably not. Did it fall flat? Probably. Okay, probably. Actually, it did have a pretty substantial impact on the landscape of fast food in America. 6 weeks after the film was released, McDonald's, alongside most other major fast food chains, removed their supersize options from their menus entirely, which is awesome. Huge massive W.
Of course, they stopped supersizing
right after this.
Right after
6 weeks after the movie premiered at Sundance. And you know, what they love to say is this would have been a great chance to really begin a dialogue, to start to open some doors, you know, to a solution. And look at what's happening. Look at the dialogue that's happening with you and I around the country. I mean, this movie is really starting people to talk about it.
I know that they're going to start offering an adult Happy Meal, which includes a salad, a bottle of water, a pedometer, and a diet activity log designed by a nutritionist.
This hit stores today. So they eliminated supersizing. They said it has nothing to do with the film. You know, the adult Happy Meal hit stores today. The movie opens tomorrow. Just another amazing coincidence.
That is a gigantic deal because the supersize option had been a staple of the fast food industry since 1987, so the late 80s, dude. And he removed it with his documentary where he made them look terrible. Rightfully so, in my opinion. I like it, but not all of it aged well, okay? As for advertising for the supersize option, McDonald's put a ad in a bunch of movies. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Big news! McDonald's Supersize Cups now feature the stars of Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I'm a coon!
Oh, this is gonna be good! Now at McDonald's, for a limited engagement, appearing on 3 different supersized Coca-Cola cups, the stars of the new movie, Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Jurassic Park?
Something big is coming to McDonald's. Something of such enormous proportions. It could only be called the Jurassic Park Extra Value Meal.
Okay. Let's see!
An enormously juicy triple cheeseburger with fries and a medium drink in one of 6 free Jurassic Park collector cups. The Jurassic Park Extra Value Meal. A dino-sized value for a dino-sized appetite.
What's mine?
What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
The point of that is that this documentary toppled that billion-dollar idea, probably a multi-million-dollar, at least hundreds of millions of dollars idea. That's incredible. McDonald's, in a hilariously weak attempt to try and do as much damage control for their public PR as possible after taking down their supersized menu, said that they didn't do it because of the documentary. It was in no way related. Which is bold thing to say there, dude. Ronald, who are you? Well, what the hell? Shut up, bitch! You know when it tries to talk back and you just shut it down immediately? How about that? Not only did this documentary take down the supersized menu across America, but it also made it into health classes in high schools across the U.S. Mixed reviews encouraged by students and parents about the film, but nonetheless, it had a clear impact on U.S. society, and it completely changed the narrative in regard to fast food. It was huge. It was massively important. You like how in the beginning of this, I was pretending like I didn't know? I knew this whole time. It's wild. This thing was a big deal. Seriously, big deal. And that is extra doubly important when you get to how he got canceled. Morgan Spurlock got canceled. By the way, this whole thing was the conflagration that led to old Michelle Obama a few years later when the Obama administration took office and they implemented the new food standards for foods that were served in schools within the United States, which they made them ass, to be fair, but it's a lot healthier, arguably healthier in some instances, not every instance, of course. Lots of reviews came out, lots of people who were upset. Some of these upset people could be viewed as just purely defensive reactions to parents and children who obviously have been consuming fast food for their entire lives regularly. They hate to see their lifestyles criticized. People hate being criticized, which is fair and valid. If you're doing it, you're not hurting anybody, who the f cares? But if you're like hurting your children by letting them eat McDonald's a lot, I'd say 3 times a week is too much, in my opinion. If I had to say, I'd say 3 times a week is too much. I'm like once a week, if that, for McDonald's specifically. Probably once a week, I'll have pizza generally, and some late nights I'll get a Big Mac. Some like Saturday nights. Honestly, it's probably every 2 weeks, I'd say. Maybe twice a month max. Yeah, I think that's accurate. I could see on my DoorDash, but because I never go there. It's not worth going there. And I also only take about a bite and I get full because I'm a puss boy. Anyways, off the tangent now. A lot of people probably wondering, did this have a big effect on how people ate in America? Well, kinda, yeah. It's safe to assume that it would, for sure. You know, people might see this. They already believe that McDonald's isn't super healthy. That's why most people don't eat McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because that's dumb. Most people know that fast food is not healthy, and they eat it rarely. It probably reinforced that, which is good. But it actually did make a pretty substantial difference. In a study published in 2007 by the Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, Dietetics, I think. That's how you say that. I'm not a chemist. Dietetics. The study was titled Knowledge and Psychosocial Effects of the Film Super Size Me on Young Adults. The study found that young adults who had watched the documentary compared to young adults who didn't consciously made more healthy diet choices, which is very interesting. And I feel like that's true, you know? Just like how whenever people watch my videos, their lives improve drastically. You know, it's kind of like one of those things. It's like a symbiotic relationship with God here. Baby girl. So according to the study, this documentary had a positive effect on its viewers, which is at the very least, as a result of the film, fast food restaurants made their nutrition info for their menu items a lot more accessible, following the revelation made by the film that many McDonald's locations didn't have any nutrition info.
McDonald's says nutrition information for all their products is available online. But according to the 2000 U.S. Census, more than half of all U.S. homes still don't have internet access. So what are these people supposed to do? Go to the stores for nutrition information? Is that information even there? I went to find out.
Do you guys have any of the nutrition fact sheets? Do you guys have one of those? Things pulled out and have nutrition info in them?
I'm just very hurt.
Or would they be up front? But they got lots of info about Dora the Explorer Live.
You just couldn't find out what was in McDonald's. That's crazy. Now it's just common. You open up and you see that it's terrible. People still eat it. It doesn't change much. Eat a little trade will fit on the bottom several nutrition facts. Furthermore, in a chart hosted by the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive Diseases, it is seen that trial obesity levels went down a little. Yeah, that's cool, but unfortunately, they skyrocketed in 2013-14 when Morgan Spurlock's next movie, I Was Wrong, came out. Just kidding, it had nothing to do with him. But that does seem to be related to an increase in food advertising, plus an increase in watching television and being lazy pieces of shit. And that, in turn, has led to a massive increase in obesity nationwide, which is terrible. It's an absolute bad thing. So, Supersized Truth comes out. Why did Morgan Spurlock get canceled as a result of this? Seems like a good thing. If you see Super Size Me as a propaganda piece against the fast food industry and McDonald's in particular, in 2013 we saw the opposite when a high school teacher named John Cisna created his own McDonald's documentary which completely refuted everything made by Morgan in Super Size Me. All the claims. All the claims.
My name is John Cisna, and I'm a junior and senior high science teacher at Colonesco High School here in Polo, Iowa. One of the alarming statistics that's risen its ugly head in this country is that of obesity and weight problems. In the United States alone, 2 out of every 3 people are considered to be overweight. And what's even more alarming is that 1 out of every 3 people in the United States is considered obese.
So John ate McDonald's every meal for 3 months instead of 1 month, and the goal was to see if you could become healthier by eating McDonald's, which is crazy.
So we are going to try to replicate the Super Size Me documentary that was done, only do it exactly opposite in the way it was done several years ago. Instead of starting with somebody that is in shape, that is exercising, whose blood work is very good, we're going to start from the other end of the spectrum. Voila, Mr. Cisna.
We are going to test the hypothesis. Is it possible for a person to eat nothing but breakfast, lunch, and dinner at McDonald's for 90 straight days to become healthy?
Over the course of the experiment, John had help in the form of some students crafting his daily menu. This, along with the parameters to stay closer to the 2,000 or so daily calories recommended, which is what I kind of said in the very beginning.
This is the team of students that put together this project. On my immediate left is Tanner, in the middle is Grant, and on the end is Savannah. All 3 are planning to go to college to study some form of exercise and/or nutrition. Tanner, Grant, and Savannah were in charge of creating the menu each day. They had to allow me 2,000 calories per day and to stay as close as possible to the recommended daily allowance of the 15 nutrients we were tracking. This ended up being a balancing act, as they had to take in consideration both of these parameters as they changed the menus.
And due to John's different parameters, he never really got tired of his food. It's a very different experiment from Morgan's experiment because he was just eating McDonald's all day, every single day. He never tried specifically to stay within a certain parameter. He tried to eat as much as he possibly could to the point where he would vomit.
And many people kept asking me, aren't you getting tired of the menu? Aren't you getting tired of eating at the same place? And the answer is no.
There were no recommended nutrition guidelines. He was just eating. He would buy something from McDonald's and eat all of it, which is not, is that normal? Do you guys finish stuff that you get when you eat food? When you buy food, do you finish it? I don't ever finish it. I don't eat a lot. I need to eat more. I'm skinny. Look at me, I'm skinny. Skinny legend. You know, it's what that opium will do. I got that opium den body. It's also important to remember in Morgan's doc that whenever he was asked if he wanted his order supersized, he would. And while Morgan would see his health decline over the length of the experiment, John saw his health improve, which is crazy. Calories in, calories out. I don't know, man. It's interesting. Does this guy got a vegan wife too? What the f is going on right now? Sounds like they got beef. Get it? John also began exercising for this experiment, walking 1.5 miles in 30 minutes on his first day. He just improved his life, but instead of eating healthy food, he just ate McDonald's food within the recommended daily nutrition guidelines. So, interesting stuff.
The nutritional part was pretty easy, but the exercise, that was a horse of a different color. As you can see here, the first day didn't start off quite as well as I hoped it would.
Well, I tell you what. My mind says yes, my body says holy buckets Batman. Didn't quite make it to 45 minutes, made it 30 minutes, but this is kind of tough carrying this kind of weight around. I did make it a mile and a half though, so a mile and a half in 30 minutes, that's about a 3-minute mile pace. I have no doubt I'm going to have to warm up tomorrow morning just to get out of bed.
And with this daily activity, he would continue to improve. He got all the way up to walking for 40 minutes, 2.25 miles.
Well, I was right. The next day, I did have to warm up just to get out of bed. And I swear if I would have died, I would have felt better. But as you can see from this clip, as time went on, it got better and better. And there was hope of what was to come.
I can't let everyone down.
Well, kind of reached the end of my rope for today. This is the end of the first week of the exercises. Today I didn't quite make it 45 minutes, made it 40 minutes, but I made it 9 laps, so that's about 2.25 miles, so if you do the math right, that's around 3 1/3 miles per hour. It's a whole lot better than the start of the week.
By the end of his 5th week, he dropped 20 pounds and still wasn't tired of eating McDonald's.
Just concluded the 5th week. I've dropped 20.2 pounds. I feel great, and the thing that's really surprising, pleasantly surprising, is that I'm not tired of the McDonald's food. I think there's just enough deviation in the meals that I'm getting that's still making it nice.
In my opinion, this is more of a testament to the effects of consistent exercise than it is to the effects of McDonald's. You know, it kind of makes a bit of sense like that, but I don't think anybody with a brain would say that McDonald's tastes like health, right? I feel like food should rot. When you leave it out in the sun, I feel like bugs and shit should come and eat it, but they don't with McDonald's. It's weird. So yeah, it's possible to become healthier when you're eating McDonald's for sure, but is it the best option? Absolutely not. There's no way. I think that's, if you pretend that it is the best option, or if you pretend that it doesn't matter, you're misrepresenting the actual facts of the situation. Morgan's is just saying that McDonald's is bad always, no matter what. Also, improves the important context.
The forces of Gotham will tremble at the feet of Mars.
Stay sharp. Consistent exercise and eating certain foods. You'd be better off just not. You'd be better off just exercising and doing it. You'd be seen as irresponsible. Is the point. So in my opinion, this does not prove just equally biased. Not that. Their experiments aren't allowed in an unbiased way, which leaves the truth likely hidden somewhere in the middle.
Defeat Earth human, no matter how
healthier that way.
I'm back, and I'll stop. That'll teach you to doubt the Illudium Q36 explosive space modulator.
Meals around nutrition and moderation. I think there's a lot of that. And obviously Morgan's
space
documentary does a good job of shining a light on the problem that glorifying food that is not good for you is a problem. There's a really good video on YouTube from Kiana Dougherty, I think, about John's documentary calling into question its integrity. I would recommend you guys watching it. It's very interesting.
Quiero chips, no tengo chips.
Because It really is hard to... McDonald's is bad for you, but exercise is good, and eating too much
I'm gonna go to
is also
McDonald's
bad.
right now.
You eat a little bit, it's fine.
It's true.
Like, there's a lot of complexity. It's not that simple.
Oh,
it's not
this is
just
gonna be
calories
good!
and you'll be healthier. Just because you're skinny doesn't mean you're healthy as well. Like, that's bullshit as well. Ask people with eating disorders.
I hope you don't plan on begging for mercy. I hate
The documentary
that.
editor the perfect advertising.
This is like the first time he's been canceled in regard to Super Size Me, but in 2017, December, he was canceled during the Me Too movement. He publicly admitted to sexual conduct with a girl while drunk, cheating on his previous spouse. He released a twit longer ago. That's not good. The Super Size Me was supposed to be a YouTube Red exclusive. His first film gained such notoriety that it was dropped by YouTube after a statement. The film did get distributed by Samuel Goldwyn Films in 2019, the same company who also distributes the first film without ads, the one that was on YouTube at least. And the Me Too news got picked up by a bunch of publications, numerous news outlets, NBC. They damaged his reputation massively. Well, he damaged his own reputation, and they just
this is
kinda
gonna
made
be
it.
good!
That's what I do too. I love damaging people's reputation. It's kind of like my thing. I just talk about shit that happens.
Oh,
It seems like people
this
like
will be a
nerd shit
lovely
up, though.
time.
It's kind of the way I look at it. Yeah, anyways, December 2017, not the first time he's been canceled. Recently, Other guy, then after this one, he got canceled again because it was becoming more public that he had been binging alcohol during the entire filming of the famous Super Size Me documentary. He had been alcoholic for 30 years. Which is a very long time. He first publicly mentioned this in the 2017. However, the signs were suddenly available from the doctor. Two separate doctors commented on the atrocious state of his liver. One even
bad.
had a drinking problem, ironically.
Anybody would say right now that somebody would do this to the level with alcohol. They could theoretically wipe out the liver, wipe out the liver cells, and be famous.
That might be an actual use of it. I think, I don't know. I forget. This gets extra bad, though, and super misleading because near the end of the documentary, the musician is flabbergasted as to how this
Why,
man's
yes,
high-fat
victory
McDonald's diet can cause him to have a liver that is akin to a alcoholic's liver. So the truth comes out, it unravels slowly over time.
The results for your liver are obscene beyond anything I would have thought. Yeah. Truly. I mean, you know,
this is
movie,
gonna be
Las Vegas with Nicolas Cage. I mean, that pickled his liver during the course of a few weeks in Las Vegas, right?
How dandy! Another foe for me to crush.
My advice to you as a physician.
This is just very strange, Morgan. It seems like you have a liver of alcohol. Are you telling me this is what you every day? Here comes how similar his experience to binge alcohol.
That's all, folks.
But to go on, you know, a Mac attack and We've got numbers to show that you're gonna tax your liver too. I would never, honestly, I wouldn't have even thought about this, but it makes sense now that we have the data.
This is gonna be good!
As far as saying, pretty much confirm that he is binge drinking while also eating a lot of McDonald's, even though at the very beginning of the documentary he states
sure
that
that's who we're fighting?
In 19th century opium drugs are like
Any alcohol?
I can't take off!
Don't smoke. I used to.
Any drug use at all?
Not for a long time.
You said you went to the prison.
So yeah, pretty.
Are you watching
I've seen that his cancellation this year has been slowly building up. People tweeting how angry and how tricked they felt by him in his documentary. This goes back as far as 2 years. It really came to a head recently, and then unfortunately he died right after. He died May 23rd, 2024, and since then, and before that, lied about the damage that McDonald's did to his body. But in reality, it was alcohol that did the majority of it. Because alcohol is actually poison. We don't need to establish that. That's what getting drunk is. It's getting poison. You idiots. It's crazy. Morgan was once hailed a hero for toppling greedy fast food, taking on lobbyists. I mean, the true kind of like badass sort of I am a revolutionary type thing, you know? I am a revolutionary. But he also loved the another terrible disease. People though get a little carried away with it. They're calling his death a byproduct of karma for lying to the U.S. public about the effects of McDonald's on the body, which I feel like it's not really that harmful, to be honest. It's just not healthy. McDonald's is just not healthy. I wonder if McDonald's is going to sue him now. Alcohol is bad though. I mean, that's 100% sure. There are numerous studies that conclude that excessive alcohol use can lead to cancer. There's a lot. There's hundreds of them. There's a shit ton, just like smoking too much. Same thing. It's all bad for you. Now, it is important to say that alcoholism is actually a very, very, very serious disease that truly does affect your brain. And people who quit, actual alcoholics who shake and they have all these problems and they can't function without alcohol, they can't just quit. They can't just quit. Your body
this is
releases
gonna
these
be good!
gassing particles and shit. You have seizures. You could die. It's incredibly dangerous to just quit cold turkey.
Indolent earthling, face me and perish.
It's tough to look into it too. But I would say that some people are
Your Scooby snacks are mine.
Most of those things are just because they don't do it. It's dumb. So yeah, it's pretty clear that Morgan struggles with this disease, and it seems like people online are overlooking the fact that it is actually and it's complicated. But I hope it's sort of overlooks it's complicated. It's not that complicated.
Stroke.
People are more upset so anyways, he wrote a documentary who set out the impact of whoever watched the name. In some ways, he succeeded in this goal. However, in other ways, it would seem his integrity came to question.
Those sparse whiskers are in for a pummeling.
To light, and people are extremely upset with the results of what we found out.
Your sparse job for a pummeling.
I know alcoholics. Really rough.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I win!
Find some friends, people who love you. Be healthy. Read some books. Drink some water. Just one step at a time is all you need to do. One little step at a time. A couple years, you have a couple thousand steps. It adds up. I'm just saying, it's real easy to do something real small. Even though it seems like it's pointless, it's not. Just one little step at a time.
This is gonna be good!
This gives me 500 of those hero points. Probably buy the joke.
I hope you don't plan on begging for mercy. I hate that.
Located just outside of San Francisco. A landmark restaurant. First taken over by a Greek immigrant. Saki Cabernet.
I was gonna die if I died. Actually, I brought it back to life.
With Slither Yarn, it seemed as if nothing could prevent the sausage and dream. Into the restaurant.
Don't drop it, whatever you do.
He asked me if
if I had an experience, and I said yes. But I lied.
How sweet this victory
Told me I would have
tastes!
been married
Yes!
to him, 2 years later, I would have ran for the hills.
She's still my wife with the straw.
Bring it over your head.
Jen's just a mess when she tries to help out in the restaurant.
There you go, sweetie.
Thank you so much. She doesn't know what she's doing. So she is Bucky's trophy wife.
I'm not as stupid as everyone thinks.
And the caviar mousse, what is in it?
Caviar? I'm not book smart, I'm street smart.
When business started to slow down, Jennifer convinced Saki that a remodel might help bring the people back.
I was given no budget. They don't put price tags on things. I was just told to go pick out what you like, and now I'm realizing I have a sense of taste.
I was planning on spending $350,000 at the most. Jennifer ended up spending almost $950,000. And after I remodeled this place, everything just went down.
That looks disgusting.
The pasta's overcooked.
The food isn't consistently good. It's not fresh.
Have a good night.
Things just kind of went like this. It is dead, empty.
I'm stressed out, man. My dream owning a restaurant. It's been really hard.
Set the motherfucker on
Don't
fire.
have
Did
a
you pay the
repeat.
insurance?
Yeah, it's been hard on my relationship. What are you getting me so pissed off for?
My parents will go days without talking. It's always a fight.
Irritates me that I put my heart on my sleeve and...
Jennifer, I have no energy anymore to fight with you, you know that?
My parents are on the verge of divorce.
Oh, this is gonna be good!
The reason is because of this restaurant.
I don't know how we're gonna bounce back. I feel like things are
Ready?
out of control.
Because I am!
And I feel like we just...
After receiving an emotional letter from the owners, Chef Ramsay has decided to meet Jennifer at her home. Hi, Jennifer. Before heading over to the restaurant. Wow, who's that?
You need to be careful!
Hey, I didn't hear, bud. Got you.
He just asked if I had experience. I said yes. He realized for my first He's not
Yeah, we did it!
I loved him. They say a beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It really is true. He's my beast.
And fast forward, your relationship with Saki now, how's that changed?
It's not doing good.
So just...
Very strange because we remodeled, we took a risk. The remodel was, $1 million.
How can you amass such a large amount? Did you know the budget in terms
I
of...
didn't have a budget. He told
$5
me to go
grand?
pick out what I like. That's like sending a lady into a designer shoe store with
Yeah.
price tags on the shoes. So it wasn't until after I found out that the bar was $40,000. And the little glitter tiles in the women's bathroom, I picked those out, but I didn't know they were here backstage.
So we can't all blame him.
That's where I beat myself up and I get mad at
Oh,
myself.
this is gonna be good!
Saki has a 10-year lease. We've got 10 years to make it or break it.
Serious, Steven? Activate!
Yeah, flavored fury!
Welcome back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? How you doing? Come on in and sit on down because today we're talking about vigilantes. Finally, boys, we get to talk about
Lay
facts.
down!
Just kidding, we're talking about online predator catcher.
I know what I'm doing.
New form of vigilantism. Why does your breath smell like dog treats? Don't forget to stay hydrated! Online predator. Not that. These self-proclaimed vigilantes go online to perform basically to predators. It's just funny content. It's online. It's online pedophiles getting basically pranked. Prank YouTubers have basically found a new niche of people to prank, and it's really hard to get mad at them because the unsuspecting are all predators. You always want them to keep going farther and farther. It's a very weird feeling. But today I just want to focus basically on one vigilante known as Hal. He's a former YouTuber with a disturbing past, but he has rekindled his online fame and has won the hearts of many.
Surprise! You can't stop me that easy.
I mean, childish games. I mean, it's basically schoolyard bullying at its finest, and it couldn't be funnier. This new venture has put him into a new heap of trouble, but he's not the first of these vigilantes to get a taste of the worst. But in fact, the very show that this is all inspired by took kind of a similar fate in the past. I'm of course talking about To Catch a Predator. Why don't you have a seat? Why don't you have a seat? Some of those old clips, dude, are just so funny.
Could you explain yourself?
It's like a guy walking in with like Capri Sun and condoms, and he's just like, Brittany? The Slender Man walks out, and he's just like, what's weird too is they always have a seat. I'm sure that there's people who are like, oh, they run off, but I would say 99% of them are like, I was just here, I was just passing, I was making sure she's okay. What were you gonna do with the football? I remember there was like one guy even in a wheelchair, he was like in those like Walt Jr. stilts.
I thought you wanted to be shaved. Down there.
Today's video is sponsored by Fume. We all have bad habits in our life. Hell, maybe I eat a little too much. Hell, maybe I drink a little too much. These are all bad habits, my God. But Fume is here to leave it all. Fume is a wonderful device that helps you say bye-bye to bad habits and hello to everything. Fume doesn't use vapor, nicotine, or toxic flavors, making it a great guilt-free alternative that you can take anywhere. Plus, you can reach for the device anytime you need to calm your anxiety with their movable, snappable magnets. I'm sure you're thinking, it's air, what could that taste
Another
like? Well,
victory
listen
for
up!
Steven
Fume
and his
has an
friends.
array of core flavors, but they just came out with a couple new ones, such as cinnamon hearts, spearmint ice, and black licorice. Orange vanilla used to be my favorite, but spearmint ice has a sweet mint taste that I just love. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be the next success story. For a limited time, use my code PAPAME to get your free Fume base when you order the Journey Pack. It's the all-new magnetic stand for your Fume device. Head to tryfume.com, that's tryfum.com, and use code PAPAMEAT or scan the QR code on screen and get your free Fume base when you order the Journey Pack today. Thank you, Fume, so much for sponsoring the video, and back to the video. To Catch a Predator was an American reality TV show that ran from 2004 to 2007. In the show, Chris Hansen would host undercover sting operations where they caught adults trying to meet up with children they met on the internet just to hang out and eat pizza or drink a couple wine coolers. I'm sorry. Can I eat pizza and have a couple wine coolers with my bros? I'm kidding! And the show really did showcase how extremely demented some of these people are.
You want to explain yourself?
I mean, especially the parts where they had, like, voice actors, like, read chat logs and some of the most depraved shit.
What you looking for? I don't know. You? Well, hot sex. What else?
I remember as a kid, I was just like my back was against the wall, like, people away from me, please. Mom, protect me. The show worked with a watchdog group called Perverted Justice, as well as local law enforcement agencies for sting operations, but even they faced many legal challenges. Critics argue that the show's methods bordered on entrapment, where the suspects might not have committed a crime without the encouragement and the facilitation by decoys, which I don't agree with, Nick. Well, you entrapped me. That's why I became sexually attracted to this. That's why I sent those messages. It'd be kind of funny, though, if you did see the messages.
This is gonna be fun!
I'm not supposed to. I will show you. I'm being SWAT to their house. I did the...
I'm
He did it with a double dare!
It's not even the devil. It's God being like, "You sure you don't want this?" Okay, fine. The public airing of the confrontations raised questions about privacy rights of the suspects, especially those who were not convicted. Suspects who were not convicted or had the charges dropped can potentially sue for defamation, arguing that the public exposure caused undue harm to their reputation and personal life. Especially back then, it was on because that was gay. That's NBC. It's like one of the biggest networks out there. If your face is out there, especially back then, ain't no coming back from that. Nowadays, people do some shit on the internet like a month gone. Like, there's some things obviously people will remember, but back then, people talking about, they're like, remember the guy with the blue polo and face was like this? It's like, what a fucking. Then in 2006, one of the most controversial incidents occurred in Murphy, Texas, with suspect Louis Bill Conrad, who suicided himself as the police attempted to arrest him. He allegedly exchanged pictures with a perverted justice volunteer, posing as a He's like, why don't you have this?
I totally let you win that time.
He never appeared for the meeting with the minor, but in Texas, the meeting never actually had to occur for the intent to establish. Here's the gun. Due to the increasing legal challenges and criticism about the ethical implications of its tactics, the Catch a Predator was a This was just the fuel, and what soon came after with the internet was the actual flame that ignited all of these new vigilantes that come up and take the power for themselves. No longer were they beholden to a network. They had the God. Following the format popular, several YouTube channels and internet vigilante groups adopted similar methods to expose predators, such as Anxiety War, Creep Catchers, and Predator Poachers. Honestly, all of them better than to catch a predator. To be fair, are you kidding me? How good is that? That's pretty good. These channels will meet up with predators they're exposing and show them the chat logs and info they found out about them to expose them to the world as sexual predators. Most of these channels are doing this without assistance of law enforcement and are acting on their own form of justice, aka street justice, baby. Hoorah!
Look, I'm sorry, it won't happen again.
I think it's a bit late to say I'm sorry.
Oh, this is gonna be good!
I'm gonna come off this website as soon as I get over.
Oh, for God's sakes!
And the best thing about these online predator hunting shows is that there's really no rules or regulations. So they just like trap these predators and put a fear up to them and then make them confront the reality of the situation. I always love some of these clips with like, and it's just like a guy with a cell phone. That's all you need now to have like perfect image quality. You don't need a huge film crew anymore. He's like, just say what you really did. And people know, they're like, I'm bro. In a matter of seconds, millions of people can see this. It's wild. But we want to start off with Alex Rawson, who created Predator Poachers in 2019. His channel makes a show forcing the person they caught to call their spouse and family members and employers to admit basically everything they've done.
I won't let you down.
Those are human beings, but like, what they're doing, it's even worse. The dude having like a man call his wife and be like, hey, so I was meeting a 13-year-old here, and you can just like hear the person screaming on the other line. It's like gut-wrenching.
Oh no, I never said that. I never said anything about law enforcement. I never said that. I never said that. You decided to call her.
That one's Connie!
Hello. Hey, excuse me.
Yes, they're monsters, but it's hard. I mean, like, it's just creepy, I guess. These monsters are wearing the masks of human beings. So in a way, it's like, you're like, I feel wrong watching this. I mean, it gets pretty fucking dark very fast. As time has gone on, he has begun to work with police as well. And many of these people get arrested and charged for what they're doing. But there are plenty of videos of him and just his team doing it. Two of the arrests that they like to claim on their website are the firefighter Christopher Jones, who was sentenced to 33 years in federal prison. That's a pretty sweet score. That's like the Jaws part. We see the big shark up there. Like, we called that motherfucker. And David Dunn, who was sentenced to 30 years in federal prison as well. God damn. 63 plus years of just being like, that there goes your life. Hope it was worth it. One of the more infamous videos was exposing the YouTuber internet personality EDP445, aka Eat That Pussy 445. Catastrophically huge meme.
Well, I was actually coming out here to pick up a cupcake.
I would say he was like a pretty well-liked YouTuber, funny, you know, he's like kind of one of the legacy YouTubers. He's been around for a long time. But then it comes out that this is happening, it's real, and it's the most awkward interaction ever. Prior to the sting operation, there were unverified accusations circulating online about EDP. But They were largely dismissed due to the lack of concrete evidence and ratings. YouTuber, their social relationships, whatever. And also, it's just hard to do somebody.
Just like the Gems taught
On
me.
April 18th, 2021, the Predator Poachers team confronted EDP in Bakersfield, California, where he believed he was meeting with the underage girl. The confrontation was recorded and streamed live on YouTube and other social media platforms. The team presented chat logs and other evidence showing that EDP had engaged in explicit conversations and planned to meet the decoy for inappropriate reasons. Since the incident, EDP has had a YouTube channel and multiple social media accounts.
I'll protect you.
There's just no coming back from this. There's no way. I think he's trying to hold Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey's in the movie now. Oh, I didn't see that. As of the last update, no official criminal charges have been filed against EDP, despite the evidence presented by the Predator Poachers. The lack of immediate law enforcement involvement in the initial sting operation complicated potential legal proceedings. Though he was also recently caught again trying to or that's going to become a kind of important piece of information is that because it was not done properly the first time, nothing can really be done. And then also now we see that the person is just going to do it again. Yes, it's an extremely funny piece of entertainment, but we're going to see that, like, you need to go through the actual processes for things to be done. And I do tip my hat to Alex Rosen for getting the other two people. 30 plus years is extremely awesome. But in a lot of instances, you just need to do it correctly the first time or it could muddy up all kinds of waters. A lot of police and district attorneys have said that the vigilante form of catching criminals is bad, and they want them to stop doing it without police help because it can hurt ongoing investigations and even ruin the chances of conviction, as stated with EDP before. The vigilantes doing these things often don't know the correct way of wording things or gathering evidence, and it can cause the people that they're catching not to face any consequences at all for what they've done. With all of these things circulating and the rise of this kind of content becoming a popularity, we finally get to come to the carnage. We get to come to the person that we wanted to talk about today, which is Vitaly.
I got molested by Hunter Biden.
Which, if people might have known him, he's been a fucking character. I mean, he's got a criminal past.
See this girl jogging. Last thing I remember is, please help. And I tried to hug her, and she pushed me, or whatever. And I hit her, and I realized what I was doing on top of her, and I'm like, what the fuck?
There was that part, I remember back in the day watching one of those award shows, and he was just like, oh, you probably expected me to show my small penis or something, haha.
But what about my soft dick, huh? Oh, you think I'm kidding? I feel like Taylor Swift.
I don't know. The guy is he's been around the internet for a long time, but essentially he is ex-prank YouTuber who has fallen off, but now has seen this huge rise in popularity and notoriety with his show Predator Takedown. And his tactics and practices have been hit with a huge wave of controversies recently. I want to say right now, it is extremely dangerous. It's crazy. It's irresponsible, but my God, is it entertaining. There's no, I mean, it's like the same kind of show with like Jackass or something. You're like watching somebody do something horribly wrong, but you just know who he's doing it to, and it just makes it just kind of like, I mean, it just makes it pretty great, honestly. He's not involved with the police at all. There is no actual legal system that goes into this. It's like public executions in a weird way is what it feels like. I know Alex Rosen has done live streams, but a lot of these online predator hunting shows are videos that are recorded and then edited and, you know, put down to a plate that you can, you know, easily consume. Vitaly's is just hours and hours of streaming and hours of him basically berating these online predators. A 73-year-old suspect was knocked out after a bystander assaulted him. He hit his head on the pavement and started bleeding. He's out in public a lot of the time and people know where he's at. So not only are you streaming yourself where people can easily access you, but you're also inciting a mob of being like, hey, I'm meeting up with a file, let's kick the shit out of this guy, which sounds awesome, but it's a great way for people to get in a lot of legal trouble. And his whole thing is, it's almost like a deal with the devil. He'll either call the cops or he will perform something extremely humiliating and live to thousands and thousands of people, which will garner probably millions of eyes over the course of Twitch channels and all kinds of things. So of course people are like, yeah, just put me online, I don't give a shit. Don't call the cops, just do whatever you want to me. And some of the humiliations that he does,
I won't hold back.
Like, so there's a clip of a suspect who has the choice of either getting the police called or wrestling an alligator. There has to be some kind of like speed outrage, but they taped that motherfucker up and they're like using it like a spear. And now one of the alleged predators is filing a 17-count lawsuit against Vitali. And it's one of the first guys that was, I'm pretty sure it was the first guy that he was ever on his, show or stream. The lawsuit claims that Vitali wrongfully accused the man of being a predator, and he was physically and mentally abused in a vicious attack. It was. And like, all recorded. It's done in the most unprofessional way where it's hard to look at it and not be like, what the hell? What is this? Out of context, it does a person just getting berated. He also claims that he joined Vitali's website for adult entertainment and was engaging in consensual adult communication before being entrapped by him. He says Vitali edited the video to make it seem like he was meeting a 15-year-old boy in an edited video. It's so scummy and stupid. It's like, dude,
Praise Hera, we won.
Like, that's such an easily disprovable thing. It's just stupid. The video has the camera crew chanting "certified lover boy, certified pedophile" after the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef song, but the entire group of people was chanting it. I mean, it looks like a goddamn blood sacrifice in the video.
Certified lover boy, certified pedophile. Whack, whack.
Vitali streams where he's supposedly catching tons of pedophiles has already gotten a lot of backlash. When he's catching predators, he isn't just catching them and having the police come and arrest them.
Oh, this is gonna be good!
He messes with them and does things like forces them to shave their heads, they have to strip, and they even have to run away while throwing fireworks or flashbang grenades at them while they're laughing. And also, he's been bringing a lot of like controversial YouTubers, celebrities, streamers, it's like freaking weird episodes of like ghost hunts, like bringing them along to go hunt these predators. And you have people like Little Pump showing up. You have Ty Dolla $ign in that. Like, what the hell are you guys even doing here? And they're going there and they're just like, oh, you're a predator, you like to touch kids. It's the fucking weirdest thing. Which even have our boy, our lovely child, Aiden Ross, and Aiden Ross and Vitali offered to let a predator go outside and see the cops or eat an extra hot regular game show.
Like you bozos can get rid of me that easily.
So it's either you go talk to the cops or you eat this hot gummy bear. Once again, it's very funny watching people storm in pain, especially when they're pieces of shit. But it's like, or just have him eat the gummy bear and then just push him outside anyways. Like, which he has people like have to eat hot candy and he kind of like scolds them like a schoolyard bully, basically saying, "Is it making you hard?"
Is it to get you hard?
Oh, it makes you hard. It's like shit that you would say in 3rd grade to have the kid in the back of the class be like, "Stop! Stop bullying me!" And here's just a list of some of the things that have happened on these streams. A random fan of the stream comes up and punches a 73-year-old accused pedophile, knocking him out, hitting his head to the pavement. There's blood everywhere, and Vitali sits in his van talking about how his career's probably over again. They shave a predator's head. Vitali pisses on a predator's face. Vitali and Ty Dolla $ign shave the head and throw flashbangs at a predator as he runs away. A suspect gets assaulted by a bystander. One of the suspects gets slapped around. Vitali grinds on a suspect. Vitali attacks a predator. Vitali supposedly catches Space Jam producer and writer of the movie What Life. Oh, did someone say another flashbang? And there's a lot of fake crime. Views, clicks, and the whole thing's a joke. Besides Aiden Ross and Ty Dolla $ign, other celebrities have joined his hunt and become regular guests in each event. A lot of the celebrities that he's bringing on these streams, they're all angels anyways. I mean, for the love of God, he's had some people with high status, like Sneeko. Controversy number 1. Legitimate criminals like Charleston White. This fucking shit, dude. Who the fuck are you to keep calling these people out as well? Yes, these people are fucking monsters, but don't act like yourself vigilante as well, dude. Because he is a prankster, and because pranksters are notoriously known for faking content, hiring paid actors for these things, it isn't out of the realm of the possibility that these are accusing Vitali of faking this content. Mostly because of the lack of evidence, the sheer bizarre nature of these confrontations, how it's always convenient. Also, it's just like weird stuff. Not to speculate too much, but they're just in like random alleys, just in a lot of places where there's not a lot of people around. Yes, they do have some on streets. I'm not saying that they're all, but no picking pedophiles off a tree like a goddamn apple. So who knows? It could be a mixture. I don't know. Because of that too, it just makes it more of a joke and more of a mockery. And it kind of like also makes the severity of the situation once again feel a little watered down. You're not supposed to take it as seriously, even though it is something that is extremely disgusting and gross dealing with these predators, these monsters. And the biggest problem is that Vitaly is creating entrapment scenarios and loopholes and like dirtying up evidence. Yes, it's funny and entertaining, but he's not really doing anything to actually give more justice to these people. Like, the justice is never really served. Yes, it's humiliating. If they're not behind bars, how many of these people would do it again? And I would have to say almost all of them.
Oh, Steven, how do you keep getting in these predicaments?
And I mean, even the way of like them saying like, well, we're doing this, you know, because it's going to be evidence to use in court. But like almost all the interrogation tactics and all the things that they do to get these convictions are completely unuseful. You have to ask yourself, why is this bad? God damn, I can't say enough that it's funny and it's good that people are being exposed. At the end of the day, predators get away. These people, these degenerates, do get away. Yeah, they get humiliated for a second. You have their faces out there. If the entire thing feels like a watered-down mess, then they're humiliated for what, a couple weeks? How long is it until they're completely forgotten? Or nothing is really done to actually make them be aware in new neighborhoods they live in, new places they live. There's no way to really prosecute. There's no way to really do it. As shown in the above clips, with the coercion, unlawful detainment, and even physical abuse, the admissions and evidence are inadmissible. Even going as far as to somewhat insinuate that they are the law enforcement. But unfortunately, they are not. Pretty funny game show. It's just things where it's like you also have the potential of ruining someone's life by being on one of these things where maybe they're not supposed to be there, because we just don't know. We don't know the legality, and we don't know the legitimacy of anything that's going on in front of us. We just have to believe a man who has historically been a fraud. I mean, I know, you know, he's been a sketchy guy. So what Vitaly is doing is a double-edged sword at the end of the day. Yes, you're humiliating people, and yes, it is enthralling content of watching disgusting human beings kind of get what they deserve. But at the same time, you're also not treating the justice system fairly. And yes, it is. I'm not going to go into the semantics of how fucked our justice system is and how unfair a lot of things are. But at the same time, it's the only way for us to play the game to actually
I should have learned better catchphrases.
Extremely important. It's a weird thing of, can you have justice and entertainment together? In a lot of ways, I bet you can, but I bet a lot of ways it's all about to actually make it seem fun and feel like justice and entertainment can exist. Because a lot of times, justice is very cold, not entertaining. It's a long, hard process. So entertainment is here to, are we really actually trying to stop anything or do anything good, or are we just trying to get advice and not news? Because at the end of the day, it's hard to justify. It's hard to make this something that is a positive thing. Yes, albeit very funny. I'm all for exposing these pedophiles and, you know, getting them off the goddamn internet, but we have to do it in a way where actual shit happens. That's it. Any president. How could you argue against that? Oh, so my tagline's not good enough? But thankfully, people are still being exposed, and there is some good to it. I'm not going to say it's all negative, but it is something interesting that's happening right now. I mean, the 17-count lawsuit thing is just happening right now. It's pretty crazy. And I thought that it was something interesting to bring up because pedophiles suck. Controversial opinion. Pedophiles suck, and you want these things to be able to happen, but we have to go in the right ways about it. I feel like people mix the entertainment with the justice side. They both can't exist in harmony. The only person that can probably do it is like Mr. Beast, because he gives back, right? Beast hunting, new game show.
This is gonna be
Jimmy's on a bus now. He goes down on tackles and like beats people to death with a baseball bat or something. That'd be a thing. Yeah, why not? While this content is extremely entertaining and it has been for 20 plus years from various sources, I think we can all agree that the right things need to happen to make sure that justice is properly received. And with that, that's all I got for you today. I appreciate you watching. See you in the next video.
Actually looking for my guy TV.
Stranger to the Learning Channel, and if you are a regular viewer or have been of my channel for a while,
imagine what I could have done if I hadn't held back.
I'm trying to piece this together here. You see, I've made 28 videos involving TLC, the Learning Channel. Welcome to the second episode of The World's Strictest Parents. my favorite show on TLC. In today's episode of The World's Strictest Parents, that's like 1%. It's not. It's like 0.25% of all the videos that I've made. But still, the point remains that I know a lot about it. And if you've been watching my channel for a long time, you know that we love the Learning Channel on this channel because we love learning. Or do we? Because the last thing I've ever done when watching anything from the Learning Channel is learn!
I have been collecting belly button lint for the last 15 years of my life.
I've laughed, for sure. All right, I've absolutely laughed.
I am still a virgin.
Oh no. However, today we will all be looking at and hopefully laughing at the Learning Channel Iceberg to see some of the craziest shit to ever air on that channel. By the way,
is gonna be
for learning.
Look, that ain't do nothing yet. Look, it's already trapped. And I put it on.
I'd advise not underestimating me.
It's the Learning Channel! At the tippy top of the TLC iceberg, we have the incredible popular Dr. Pimple Popper.
Just the sheer size of the tumor. It's completely blocking his nasal passage.
A TV show that
This
premiered
sword was
on
crafted
January
by the gods,
2018,
and I shall use it to destroy you.
Last season,
The bud's gonna beat his toe.
April 5th,
Oh no.
2023. It's hosted by a woman named Dr. Sandra Lee, a licensed dermatologist who's been posting pimple-popping content online for years. And she really blew up with the use of social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Though the title of the show is centered around pimple popping, the show deals with so much more than that,
It's
because she's
beating
a
me now
licensed
because making
dermatologist.
fun
She's
of
seen
it.
all sorts of moles.
Yeah, you can see what's called follicular plugs. There's like all these little dots.
Growths.
This time.
He hustled me.
Anything fun related to the human skin.
How many of you have? I see two. Any
Three
others?
big ones.
Okay, now I see more.
And with my body, one thing I have learned is that the most fun you can have with your body is with moles and growths that come off of your skin. You ever wonder what would happen if you just tossed your Vapenheimer out of an airplane-enheimer? Well, you're gonna want to find out once you've tried fume.
This is gonna be
You should never open a door to an airplane.
This episode of the Y-Files is brought to you by Delete Me. The history of medicine goes back to the dawn of mankind, when ancient healers used special herbs to treat illnesses. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, laid the foundation for modern medical practice. Observation, diagnosis, prognosis, and treatment. His work set the stage for centuries of medical progress. In the 19th century, Edward Jenner created a smallpox vaccine, and Louis Pasteur proved microorganisms cause disease. The 20th century brought antibiotics, medical imaging, and organ transplants. For the past 400 years, the human lifespan has doubled. But something happened to medicine along the way. It became an industry, a profitable one. Victory! President Eisenhower warned against creating a military-industrial complex because if you make war profitable, you'll always have war. And he was right.
The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
So here's a cynical question. If you make illness profitable, will you always have illness? Well, in recent years, trillions have been spent on cancer research and therapies. Now, that's a lot of people getting rich from a disease that's already been cured.
Could have walked away.
Or Yorick. I knew him. Or he should. What is going on? Whoa, Gertie sounds.
She was searching the web, and she found out some things about me. Personal things.
Like what?
3 marriage licenses.
Okay.
And 2 divorce decrees.
You're still legally married?
I thought I got that one to know. It was Vegas, I had a great night at the tables, a few too many martinis, and next thing you know,
Here
I'm
it
in the
is.
Elvis Chapel with an angel fish named Sheila,
Watch
and I'm
out.
in Mandalay Bay. It's a hotel that has a big aquarium.
I know what it is. Get a divorce.
Filled out the paperwork. But Gertie thinks I've been hiding this from her. I didn't even know all this information was on the web. I'm gonna be swimming on the couch for a week now.
Look, why don't you just use Delete Me?
Oh, I think you just meandered your way right into today's sponsor.
Well, thank goodness it finally did. Delete Me is a hands-free subscription service working to scrub your personal data from the web. Their team of privacy experts removes you from hundreds of data brokers all year long. And in just 7 days, you'll receive a detailed privacy report showing you exactly where your information was found and removed. Delete Me will wipe the slate clean, removing your personal data like phone numbers, addresses, and more.
I'm not a
Plus,
lady,
their
and I
monitoring
never have
system
been.
ensures that
That's
your
not
data
me.
stays gone, repeating removal as needed, helping you reduce the risks of identity theft, stalking, even arrest. And here's the best part. With Delete Me, you're in control. You can make custom removal requests, tailoring your privacy protection to fit your needs. To start protecting your personal data, join
Got some payback soon,
DeleteMe.com/WiFiles and use code WiFiles to receive 20% off Delete Me US consumer plans.
Join DeleteMe.com/WiFiles. 20% off?
Yep.
This looks like a job for finds my old semi-aquatic pictures.
Wait, what do you mean semi-aquatic picture is?
I started doing a semi-aquatic. You know, I still kept some of my scales covered, but I hit a rut and bills were piling up, and I didn't know what to do, so I ended up doing
Doing what?
I did full waterless.
Oh, this is gonna be
Royal Raymond Rife was born in Nebraska in 1888. He was a good student and wanted to be a doctor. Only 16 years old, he was admitted to Johns Hopkins University, one of the best medical institutions in the world. Rife became fascinated by bacteriology and the microscopic world, which led him to optics. To study bacteria effectively, he needed to see them clearly. He took a job at Zeiss Works in New York and trained under senior optics lecturers. If you know anything about microscopes, telescopes, or cameras, or anything with lenses, you've heard of Zeiss. And Rife wasn't a bookworm researcher. He was hands-on. He built his own equipment, including one of the most powerful microscopes ever made, the universal microscope. In the 1920s, standard microscopes could only magnify objects up to 2,000 times. Rife could reach 60,000 times magnification. He could see viruses and bacteria that nobody had ever seen before. Rife discovered what he called Bacillus X, or the BX virus. He believed cancer wasn't a disease, it was a virus, the BX virus. He wanted to destroy these microorganisms without harming surrounding tissue. Then he made another amazing discovery. He found that exposing microorganisms to specific frequencies caused them to explode.
Starts disintegrating full of
All objects have a resonant frequency. When exposed to an external force, matching this frequency, an object absorbs energy and vibrates more intensely. Parts of the human body have their own frequencies. This is useful in an MRI, which uses frequencies to produce diagnostic images, but it can also be dangerous. If you resonate an object for too long or too much energy, it can be dangerous. This is why singers can break a glass by singing the right note.
I just hope I made a difference.
That's how you do it.
So Rife built the Rife Frequency Generator, or Rife machine, which emitted specific frequencies to target and destroy specific microorganisms. He called the frequency the mortal oscillatory rate. He found the frequencies to destroy tuberculosis, typhoid, pneumonia, anthrax, and more, all without harming healthy tissue.
Now you can see the disintegration of the bacteria going into pieces.
Oh, this is gonna be
That's
good!
killing bacteria without harm to the human cell. Without drugs.
He injected lab
we all
rats
meet
with
under better
cancer cells,
circumstances someday.
creating golf ball-sized tumors, and used his machine to match the cancer's mortal oscillatory rate. It worked. The lab rats were completely cancer-free. Rife's work attracted interest from other doctors. Dr. Mildred Johnson arranged a study on 16 cancer patients using Rife's machine. In 3 months, 14 of the 16 patients were completely cured. Royal Raymond Rife discovered the cure for cancer. Royal Raymond Rife's discovery was a triumph. His clinical trial in 1934 was a huge success.
16 cases were treated at the clinic for many types of malignancy.
Got my
After
eye
3
on
months,
you.
14 of these so-called hopeless cases were signed off as clinically cured by the staff of 5 medical doctors and Dr. Alvin
First, the medical establishment rejected Rife's ideas. The notion that simple radio waves could succeed where radiation and surgery had failed, well, that was nonsense. They figured Rife's funding would dry up and he'd disappear. But that didn't happen. To get financed in medical research, you need support from the pharmaceutical industry. But Rife didn't need big pharma. He was backed by a few private investors, including William Timken, who owned a ball bearing company.
Hey, it's all ball bearings nowadays.
Okay.
You prepare that Fetzer valve with some 3-in-1 oil and gauze pads.
With that,
Give me about 10 quarts of antifreeze. Fletch!
I know it's Fletch! With no ties to the medical industry, Rife had the freedom to research whatever and however he wanted. Doctors around the country figured if this Rife guy wasn't going away, they might as well look at his work. Rife used his machine more than 400 times on animal tumors. It worked every time, forcing even the most hardened skeptics to take notice. And there was no bigger skeptic than Boris Fishbein.
We'd be on the same side.
Fishbein, head of the American Medical Association, was known to be very aggressive. Some critics called him Mussolini.
I know it's not your fault.
To buy Rife out. But when Rife said no, Fishbein's attitude changed. Rife kept working, but progress became increasingly difficult. Mysterious people started showing up at his lab. Some offered bribes, and others made threats. Other doctors had success using Rife's technology, but were pressured by the AMA to stop or lose their licenses.
Vigilance against quackery is Dr. Morris Fishbein.
There is no serum,
justice,
drug, or
and a better
combination
tomorrow.
of drugs that we know that will definitely cure cancer.
Any doctor caught using a Rife machine was harassed and worse. Fishbein then launched a campaign of character assassination against Rife. Articles appeared in medical journals and newspapers calling Rife a quack and a charlatan. Rife's lab was vandalized, his equipment destroyed, and his research disappeared. His life was unraveling. The final blow came in 1939. Fishbein offered one of Rife's investors legal assistance in an attempt to steal the company from Rife and other investors. Rife spent years fighting lawsuits. He went bankrupt, and the AMA stopped his work from proceeding. Royal Raymond Rife quietly retired. Broken, he turned to alcohol.
Oh, this is gonna be good!
About 20 years later, renewed interest in Rife's technology led John Crane and John Marsh to convince him to build a new machine. Rife agreed, but the business didn't last long. 1960, their labs were raided without a warrant. All equipment and records were seized. But his partners were charged with medical fraud. Even though 14 patients testified they were cured by the Rife machine, Crane and Marsh were sentenced to 3 years in prison. Oh, by the way, the forewoman of the jury was an MA doctor. Rife was again labeled a liar and a quack and reduced to poverty and despair. Many of Rife's associates faced tragedies. Dr. Milbank Johnson died in 1944, poisoned, and all his research disappeared. Burnett Labs in New Jersey, building Rife machines to treat cancer, mysteriously burned to the ground in 1939. All equipment and research were destroyed. And the owner of the lab, Dr. John Burnett, was related to William Timken.
The ball-bearing guy?
Yep. Dr. Elmer Nemes was a nuclear physicist, medical doctor, and microscope designer. He was trying to replicate Rife's work in 1969. He died while staying at a hotel when his bed suddenly caught fire. 2 years later, in 1971, Rife had a heart attack. While in the hospital, he died after he was accidentally given a lethal dose of Valium.
Accidentally my dorsal fin.
But Rife's ideas didn't die with him. Other pioneers would seek out alternative ways of curing diseases. The medical mavericks were not going away. But neither were Morris Fishbein or the AMA. The medical establishment does not like alternative medicine. In the 19th century, there were two types of medical practitioners in the US: allopathic doctors and alternative healers. Allopathic doctors diagnose and treat illnesses with pharmaceuticals, surgery, and other conventional methods. Alternative healers used natural remedies. Since anybody could claim to be a healer, many did. Natural healers were cheaper and plentiful. Mainstream doctors weren't making any money. So in 1847, they formed a trade union called the American Medical Association, the AMA.
Whoa. The AMA started out as a union?
Yep.
Isn't a union's job to protect the interests of its members?
It is. So in 1901, the Journal of the American Medical Association released a statement.
The growth of the profession must be stemmed if individual members are to find the practice of medicine a lucrative profession.
So the AMA was created so doctors can make more money?
That's right.
Isn't this corrupt?
I'm not judging, I'm just telling you what happened. The AMA brought in the Carnegie Foundation to survey medical schools. In 1910, they released a report calling for standardizing medical training and eliminating non-scientific practices.
And who determines what's scientific?
The AMA does.
Of course.
Schools teaching alternative medicine were forced to drop these courses or lose funding and their ability to grant an MD. This led to a significant reduction in medical schools.
They offered tremendous amounts of money to the schools that would agree to cooperate with them. Almost overnight, all of the major universities received large grants from these sources and also accepted 1, 2, or 3 of these people that I mentioned on their board of directors, and the schools literally were taken over by the financial interests that put up the money.
In 1904, there were 160 schools granting MDs to more than 28,000 students. By 1920, only 85 medical schools were left. By 1935, the number had dropped to just 66.
New awareness of past injustices in many parts of our society. That's true in the fields of science and medicine, which are starting to look more carefully at their own history.
Most medical schools for blacks and all medical schools for women were now closed. So if you were black or a woman, becoming an MD and getting into the AMA was difficult.
The American Medical Association is one of the country's oldest, largest, and best-known associations of doctors. Its voice has long been influential, but now the AMA is finally beginning to come to terms with racism in its own past.
The doctor is the only one entitled by training, by experience, and by law to take care of the sick.
The AMA established allopathic medicine as the only acceptable type of medicine to practice. Alternative medicine was marginalized